Greetings and welcome to the Fan Perspective. I'm your host Nathan Nile, here with my continuing coverage of the 2015 NBA playoffs, and I'm going to be discussing the Western Conference Finals, the matchup between the number 1 seed Golden State Warriors and the number 2 seed Houston Rockets. And wow, I can't remember the last time this happened, where in both conferences you have the number 1 seed versus the number 2 seed. It doesn't happen that often in these finals. Even though it didn't happen exactly the way you expected it to, you got the result that we should have had, technically, I guess. To this matchup, you got, of course, the obvious storyline, MVP versus MVP. Curry and Harden, they were fighting each other off for the award. Steph Curry ended up getting the award, and I also think he's going to play better in this series. Not necessarily because he's a better player, but because of the talent level around them. For one thing, the injury to Patrick Beverly is going to continue to hurt the Rockets, especially in this series, because you've got Jason Terry starting at point guard. You're going to try to have a 40-year-old man corralling Steph Curry? Nah, that's not going to happen. And then, so they're not going to be able to contain him, so he'll be able to get whatever shot he wants, and if you start doubling him, you're leaving a bunch of people wide open. Steph could easily average a double-double in this series. And then, Harden and Curry, they're probably not going to go head-to-head. Offensively, defensively, I have no idea who Harden's going to match up with, because he's a horrible defender. No matter who you put him in front of, it's going to be a mismatch in this series. But on the other side of the ball, Klay Thompson, even though he's known for his shooting abilities and known for being a scorer that can put up points, he's also an underrated defender in most respects. And I think he's not going to shut down James Harden. I think Harden's still going to get his 20 points every game. But he can slow him down. He can make it difficult for him. And I just think the Rockets, even though they've got a good team with plenty of talent, they've got people who can score offensively, they've got some decent defenders, they're not a good defensive team. And I just think the Warriors, they're a better and more consistent team on both ends of the floor. Not to mention they've got more depth, and then they've also got better free throw shooting, because the Rockets, their free throw shooting is atrocious, and it's going to come into play unless Harden is the one shooting 20 free throws a game. It's going to affect their overall scores. Not to mention you've got the battle in the paint. You're going to have Howard versus Bogut, and even though Bogut, he's not as athletic as DJ, he's still a force to be reckoned with in the post. Bogut in the paint is going to have a big impact on this series. You may not see it in his numbers, but there's a good chance you'll see it in Howard's numbers. Even though Bogut, like I said, not as athletic as DJ, but he's got a good veteran presence. So he's right on the level. And he might be better in some respects just because he does it all up here, whereas DJ, it seems to be mostly instinct at this point in his career. So. And then you've also got, the Rockets, they've got guys like Ariza, Smith, and Jones and all that, and at the forward position. And yeah, that's scary, but I've got slightly more respect for Harrison Barnes. This guy's gotten some triple-doubles this season. Draymond Green. Harrison Barnes is still good, but Draymond Green, he's become the third member of the big three for the Golden State Warriors, because it's been about the Splash Brothers. But this season it's been about the Splash Brothers and Green. His development as a player, he's done an amazing job. Not to mention you've got some veterans like Iguodala and Lee who can come off the bench and give you some good minutes and give you some good numbers with those minutes. And I just think, I feel like the Warriors just have an overwhelming advantage over the Rockets, and even though it's not going to be a sweep, I definitely expect the Rockets to get plenty of wins. I just feel like I just don't see any possible future where they're able to win 4 times against the Warriors. So I fully expect the Warriors to win this series and advance to the finals. And it pains me to say that. I honestly hate both of these teams. The only team left in the finals, left in the playoffs that I actually like are the Hawks, and that's just because I don't hate them. So they're my favorite team now, just because of Coach Bud. And I don't hate the Cavs. It's just that, I don't want them to win this year. Much as I love LeBron, it's just I hate J.R. Smith. Hate Kevin. And just, there's a lot of all the storylines going on there. But you know what? Whatever.